Welcome, everybody, to a new type of, well, it's not a new type of video, a new format for an old type of video. I think I did a Bat Family tier list a long time ago.
Long time ago.
This
At
is-
least a year ago.
Yeah, roughly. And then this, I've kind of given it its own unique looking format because I wanted to be different. This is all probably going to be updated if I continue doing this to be more fancy looking, but I just kind of reused assets I already have. We're doing a tier list. Because
tier list.
I realized, man, it's been a while since I posted a video, and man, that video I've been working on, I have not had the motivation to do. So I'm delaying that one for quite a few more months, and I decided to put this together because I want to put out another video before I start working on the Game of the Year video that I kind of want to do every year. Still have no clue what games are going to be tossed into that list.
This year has been kind of like weird when it comes to Game of the Year stuff, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's not what this is about. But I'll figure that out. This is meant to be a series that I can record very simply, very easily, with very little editing. Maybe no editing. There's probably going to be some editing. Just to get it out and get content out there, because I don't like not posting a video for several months on end without having anything around the corner. So that's what this will be for. And I decided what better topic to do than a tier list of Mike Flanagan shows, considering you and I are both obsessed with them, and I did a video on one of them that is the best performing video on my channel. So you'll see more from that show later. Now, to preface, I haven't watched any of these shows in a long time. What about you, Aurora?
The only show I've watched somewhat recently is I started a rewatch of The Fall of the House of Usher.
Okay.
But I don't think I ever actually finished it, but that's neither here nor there.
It's been several months since I've watched any of these shows.
Yeah.
The most recent being The Fall of the House of Usher, but I still have some opinions on these shows.
Well, yeah.
We'll get into them. So we're going to do this in chronological order, and as you see, there are 3 tier lists up here. The one above my head is my personal tier list. The one above Aurora's head is Aurora's personal tier list. And the one in between is what we're going to call our combined tier list. In case you wanted to, know my thoughts, Aurora's thoughts, and our communal thoughts. And if I were to do this with more than 3 people, I'd have to reorganize the way things look here and try and do the same sort of thing. That's kind of the idea here. Like I said earlier, these assets will probably update if I choose to continue this series. These are all very placeholder, but I like the way it looks. So,
Yeah.
let's just get into it then. I'm bad with intros, as it was clearly there. I'm not one for transitions either. So let's just jump into this, okay? The first show, we're doing this in the order of release. The Haunting of Hill House, the very first of these shows. I'm not going to do a plot synopsis. I'm going to kind of assume you guys watching this have seen these shows, or at least have one show on this that you wanted to know our thoughts on, and you'll probably skip to that section. But yeah, The Haunting of Hill House was the first one.
I think it was the second one I watched.
Yeah, I showed you the second show first because I thought it would appeal to you more. We'll see if that ended up being the case. I think we'll do it in a method where I start out, I give my thoughts, then you give your thoughts, and then the next show you give your thoughts, I give my thoughts. We're still working out how exactly we want to do this, so.
Okay.
My thoughts on this show is, I think it belongs in A tier. I think it's a very good show. We have to shrink these a lot to make them visible, but I think it's a very good show.
And I agree. A tier.
Okay. Interesting. So I feel like I don't know that we are going to disagree on any of these, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. We have very similar tastes.
Yeah. This is also going to be very inconsistent sizing wise.
What a mood.
I mean, that makes the group choice pretty easy. It's definitely an A.
Yeah. You can make the group choice one a little bit bigger, I think.
It's moving too many things. There you go. Bly Manor stays there. Yeah. Hill House is A. It's just, I think it's a very solid outing. It's a simple haunted house story with a twist. It's not even really simple, but it's a common haunted house story with a twist.
Yeah.
That's annoying with the size difference.
Also, disclaimer, we haven't read the book.
Oh, no, I haven't read.
Shows have books.
I know the second one has a book called, The Twisting of the Screw or something.
Yeah.
The Turning of the Screw? I think that's it.
Oh.
But I haven't read any of the books for these either, so these are all purely based off the shows. I just really like the characters in this show.
The characters are like really, really good in this show.
They kind of define these actors to me. I don't know any of their actors' names off the top of my head, but the one who plays Theo, who is the woman with the gloves, she is incredible in everything she's in. I'm just gonna.
Isn't that his wife?
That is Mike Flanagan's wife, yes. And she is incredible in everything she's in all of these series. It's crazy. Probably my favorite character in this show.
She's
I'd
probably
say
my favorite character in every show she's in.
I also really like the Dudleys, especially like the Dudley husband. They're so like, I feel so sympathetic towards them and their whole story throughout everything. And it has some like good dark twists too with the mom's like insanity, which I can't remember if she was like corrupted by the house or if it was the black mold or if she had just lost it. But like,
it also has a really good balance of both. Yes, this house is haunted, but also, they're not really doing the best at keeping it, clean and healthy for like the kids. So it's kind of unclear if it's supernatural or not.
Yeah, it's you kind of it answers that question for you at the end. But what I really like about these shows, that this is the first show and really sets forward the tone for this, is rewatch the show after you finished it and you will notice so many more things. Like, everything is internally consistent with the final twist at the end, and there are so many hints towards these things. Like, I guess spoilers, because I'm assuming everyone here has watched these shows or doesn't care about spoilers. The twist that all of their favorite rooms in the house are the heart of the house and all of them are the same space is hinted at so well throughout the show, where they are all framed the same way with the window right in the center, and nobody else understands what these kids are talking about when they talk about like, oh, the treehouse, oh, my dance studio, because those rooms don't exist to the rest of them. I believe everyone in the show has the heart room except for the father. I don't know that the father does. He might. Yeah. I can't remember.
We might need to rewatch it just to figure that out.
Yeah.
If that gives you any idea of how good this show is.
They also do a very good job at like the family kind of tearing itself apart over whether or not the ghosts were real or not, especially with the funeral and Nellie kind of making herself known, telling her entire family, hey, fucking stop arguing. There's bigger shit going on here. Also, we're gonna swear.
There are bigger fish to fry.
And for the sake of not wanting to go on too long of a ramble, because unscripted, the two of us can talk about the same thing forever, and we'll probably repeat a lot of talking points, but yeah, there's also, I will say, some trigger warnings for the show between drug use, depictions of suicide, and not depictions of, but like as close as you can be to depictions of without like actually depicting sexual assault is present.
Yeah.
To like a minor as well, so like that's trigger warnings for those things. Just, yeah. I mean, I feel like they're done very well and very tastefully and fit the story, but like, just a fair warning,
Yeah.
Then,
but let's move on
to the Haunting of Bly Manor, which is the show that I introduced to this series of shows to you with, because I had a feeling it would appeal to you because it has lesbians in it, and that's largely the difference between the two that I thought would appeal to you more. So what are your thoughts on the show? Where do you think it should be placed?
I think Bly Manor is a very good show. I think it's got some really good set design. The characters are really nice. The twists are fun. But I don't think it's as strong as Hill House. I think it's a B tier.
I'm realizing now that I've done this incorrectly, so all the things will be coming from there. But B tier.
Yeah,
hold on.
I think
Let
it's
me
a B
check
tier.
something real quick. Did I do that on the other side too? I think I probably did. I did.
I think you did, yeah.
Do that.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the show.
Size-wise.
I just think that, like, the twist on a rewatch, I don't think had enough. Like, compared to Hill House, it just didn't have as much, like, oh, I can see how that happened on a rewatch. The only character I, like, really went, oh, about was, what was she, like, the groundskeeper, the caretaker?
The groundskeeper was the lesbian, and then there was the, like, I don't know what her job was, but are you talking about the woman who's been dead the whole time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Her.
Her story was pretty good. I would agree. I think it's also a B tier. It feels very similar to Hill House, but for that reason, it feels like it makes a lot of the same decisions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It feels like it was rehashing a lot of ground, I think. Again, I still think it's a very good show. I want to preface right now.
These are
all of these shows are good. Like, a B tier Mike Flanagan show is probably a solid A tier show in general. I want to preface that. So, yeah. I think that I can't remember the characters' names in the show, which I guess goes to show that it didn't stick with me as much as the first one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think that the woman who's been dead the whole time, her story is very good with the crack appearing everywhere. That one's hinted at very well. I feel like the faceless character and the blonde dude and the previous caretaker, like the previous nanny, all of their stories feel like less hinted at, I guess. There is, I think, another good story though is the main caretaker, the new girl. Again, can't remember any of their names. Her story with her fiance. I think that's done pretty well.
Yeah, that was done really well. That was probably my favorite part.
I think those two stories are very worth keeping up with. The rest of it, I don't know. And the kind of sad ending at the end felt very just sad and a little bit unnecessary.
Yeah, it didn't really give me the catharsis that I feel like it was trying to.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. All in all, still good, fantastic show. I don't have as many things to say about it, frankly. What are some other things that happened? There's the parents' room that they weren't allowed to go in. Not much came of that. The children. Okay, I'm noticing a trend of creepy things.
Great.
But the children acting was great, but like the two people possess the children who were in like a relationship and gets kind of like the dude who's like clearly the bad guy. Yeah. Who possesses the young boy, like flirts with women and is like very pervy constantly, and it's just like, okay. And I guess it can be interpreted. Don't do that in the body
of like a 5-year-old, please.
They're not 5. They're like 12. Yeah, but like it feels very, I don't know. It definitely is supposed to hint that like there's an adult human inside of him, kind of thing. But it just feels kind of icky. I don't know how else to describe it.
But I will say the child actor did a really good job of portraying himself, like, as an adult, like an adult in a child's body. It was really good acting.
Yeah, and the same woman actress who played Theo. I need to look up her name if I'm going to talk about her every single show. Let me see. Kate Siegel. She has a minor role in this, but I think she's still very good because she is in the flashback sequence. She is the cursed like entity without a face.
That was good.
It's pretty good. There's some good moments in this too, with like the dollhouse being used to track where she is. And the scene where I'm forgetting his name, but like the dude who was the scummy guy, his death where he's just walking and immediately gets grabbed in the throat is also very good because the ghost character, the faceless ghost, is just trying to find her child and accidentally drowns another child because she's looking for her child and has just kind of lost herself.
She has no face.
Yeah. And yeah, all in all, it's a solid, good show. It's just compared to some of these other ones, it doesn't reach the same peaks, I think.
Yeah.
And then that brings us on to next, Midnight Mass. I am honestly a big fan of this show. I think it also belongs in A tier.
Really?
I think it's also... Why. I just really like the way it tackles the sort of like religious aspects. It feels very different from the other two. As opposed to being in a haunted house, it's on an island. Another idea for a video I've been like workshopping is exploring the 10 Commandments in all of these characters, because I found a lot of ways to tie that in. The main character disrespects his parents.
I will say, this is the first one I have not rewatched. So I don't remember it as well as like the previous two.
I also just really like the what was I gonna say? I completely forgot. Oh, the like tying together vampirism with like angels.
That is pretty cool,
I think that's done very well. And
Mm-hmm.
they never really fully answer the question, technically, if they're vampires or angels. It's very heavily implied that they are vampires. They have all vampire weaknesses. They drink blood. They burn in the sun. But they never, I don't think, ever say the word vampire.
They don't, which is very... I feel like that's smart.
And again, there's just so many scenes in this show that are just done very well. Like when the main character, again, I'm forgetting a lot of the names, is on the boat and can't escape. Him burning to death is done very well, and that's where Kate Siegel's character comes back. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. It could be Seagal, but that makes me think of Steven Seagal, and I don't want to. So I'm gonna say Siegel. She's very good in this as well, because she is like, if I remember correctly, she is like the kid who grew up as like a rebellious child on this island, but over time, as they came to adulthood, were kind of forced to follow into this whole like culture of the island, which is very cult-like too.
Very religious.
Very religious, very cult-like. And there was a scene when watching the show where at the very end, another actress who's incredibly good in these shows, I'm gonna have to look up the names of these characters real quick. Samantha, that's the actress's name, Samantha Sloyan. Bev Keane, who was the religious woman, like the altar boy, but the woman.
Oh, fucking Bev.
She, oh my god, she does such a good job at getting you to hate her. And in like the final acts of the show, because in the show everybody dies. I believe everybody dies.
Yeah, everyone on the island dies, I believe.
There might be the kids. I think the kids survive.
Oh yeah.
Two of the kids, not all of the kids, but some of the kids survive, and that's it. But Bev Keane looks up at the sun as it's rising, and she's been turned into a vampire. She's on the beach, and I remember watching the show like, oh, she wouldn't accept death. She needs to start like trying to bury herself in the sand, like anything she could possibly do to get out of the situation, because despite all of her like proselytize, I don't think I said that word right, but like all of her talking about how she's holier than thou and like a child of God and speaks for God, I don't think fully believes that, and is kind of using it as a source for power, and when faced with her own mortality will do everything in her power to like not die, essentially. And as I was talking about that, seeing her kneeling on the beach looking at the sun ready to accept death, I was complaining about that out loud to Aurora. She immediately starts like screaming, digging at the sand, trying to get out of the sun at all costs, and at that moment I was like, we're on the same page, you and I. Mike Flanagan, you and I, we think alike. I 100%, and I think that's the moment where I was like, I'm going to love this show way more than I think most people will. It just it scratched so many itches for me. I don't know.
And hey, you are a vampire.
That is true. I could probably ramble about the show for a long time. If there was another show, one of these shows I'd do a video on, it's probably going to be this one. I want to know your thoughts on it, because I think it's going to be different. Yeah, this is, I think, the one show we're going to diverge on.
For me, it's a C tier.
I was afraid you were going to say that, because before recording this, you talked about how, like, oh, that's one show for each category, and I was like, uh-oh, I don't think it's one show for each category. So, I guess explain. What did you not like?
Mostly I felt like the characters weren't as strong and as memorable as the previous two shows. I don't really remember any of them. I don't really remember their struggles or like what they were going, like I don't really remember like what made them them. All I remember is cool angel vampires.
The thing is, I feel like a lot of them had very strong, like, singular flaws that feels very fun to make a video about. Like, the priest, I have the names pulled up here. I'm gonna actually start going through these. Father Hill, he was clearly unfaithful, both in the sense of he slept with a woman and had her bear a child as a priest, big no-no. And
big
also, he invited the vampire into the town. Clearly not a holy creature. He's the one who brought it in. He's clearly a flawed character. Also, I really fucking like the sheriff.
Snake in the garden.
Another there's a few actors in this that I really feel like they need to shout out, between Kate Siegel, Samantha Sloyan, and Rahul Kohli, who was the sheriff. he's also incredible. Um, he's the one Islamic individual there. He talks about how his struggles with why he brought him and his son to this island was because after 9/11, just the hate on the mainland was too unbearable, and he didn't feel it was safe enough to raise a child there. So he moved to this island, and I thought that was interesting. He's also the sheriff trusted with like keeping the small town safe, but he's not like it's the sheriff, but it's not a significant role. It's not seen as a significant role in the society because it's such a. I'm slurring over my words. I'm talking so quickly. Hold on, let me regain myself. It's such a small, sleepy town. Nothing really happens. The only thing that has happened before the events of this show are the one dude shot a kid and paralyzed her from the waist down, which pretty significant. But like he's still not even like thrown in jail. It was like a hunting accident while he was drunk, I believe. Yeah. So there's also some cool things about that. His whole story about him so badly wanting redemption for what he did because he genuinely feels remorseful over that. And then obviously Riley Flynn, the main character who dies halfway through the show, his struggles with his parents and not wanting to be on this island and feeling trapped and sharing that with Erin, the other woman who's like the teacher. There's just so many little character dynamics that I love about the show. But none of them are necessarily as fully thought out. I'm not gonna say fully thought out, fully explored as with the first two shows, because the cast is like 2 to 3 times larger. And I feel like I cut you off because I needed to rant further, but okay, I'm sorry I cut you off. What are some other thoughts you had, if any?
Like I said, I just don't really recall anything except for cool vampire angels. With like cool fleshy designs. But like the characters just didn't feel all that memorable.
A lot of blood too.
A lot of blood. It felt a little excessive on the gore compared to the first two shows.
This is the first show I'd give a potential gore warning to.
Potential gore warning, absolutely gore warning.
I mean, it's only like pools of blood though. It's not it's not like there's intestines or like brain matter or anything like that. It's blood for the most part, but like it's a lot of it, you know. It's a lot of it. So it seems like that means that B-tier. Yeah, it's a B tier for the group. I feel like that's very low for it, but you put it at C, so I'm like, okay. This is where I have to start adjusting these size-wise. Make that a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. Like I said, this is very work in progress asset-wise. And also, these are such weird shapes. I was originally like going to do this like the other way around, and I was like, there's no way that if I do it like the S to A being on the left vertically, like typical tier lists, there's no way I'm going to fit all of this. Yeah. So, I'm doing it this way. But yeah, this is, I think, the only show we're going to differ opinions on, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. All right. Next, you have the Midnight Club, which you
D-tier.
Give your thoughts here first. D tier?
D tier.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I agree.
It's kind of hard to talk about the Midnight Club because it's less of one continuous story. Apparently, it was supposed to get 2 seasons, and this is why it's not one continuous story. But it's not one continuous story. It's basically a bunch of short, like, horror stories you tell in the dark, which is fun, but for Mike Flanagan, it just feels a little bit juvenile.
Well, there is an overall story. It's about... I said I wasn't going to give these plot synopses, but, like, I've ended up giving plot synopses for most of them. It's... Actually, I guess I didn't give a plot synopsis for the first 2, but these last 2 I have, the 2 midnight shows. It is about a kid who's learned that they are inevitably going to die, so they're put in a hospice care with a bunch of other kids. And it's basically those kids trying to rationalize the fact that, like, hey, they're going to die, and hey, what can we really do with our lives to, like, round it out in a way we're happy with? One of them dies, and they have this pact that says if any of them die and can reach out with a sign, that they will. Essentially proving that the afterlife exists and that ghosts exist and stuff like that. There's hints.
And we never get a solid answer on that because it was supposed to get a second season.
It was supposed to get a second season, and there's also like a witch coven nearby and stuff. And I do think
that just feels weird.
There's also exploring like queerness in that show as well.
It tries to handle way too much. By trying to juggle all of these acts, none of them feel fleshed out enough to be
But
memorable.
The only reason that's the case is because it didn't get a season 2. It very much felt like it was setting things up to be explored later.
I will say, it's not his fault. All of the acting is great.
Mm-hmm.
It is not Mike Flanagan's fault. It's not one of the actors' fault. It's Netflix's fault.
Once again, Kate Siegel, I think this is the one show she's not in. No, wait, she is in, but it's I think she's in it. Is she in it?
I don't think so. Actually, I feel like she has to be. Hang on.
I know Rahul Kohli is in it. He's in it again. I don't think she's in the show, Kate Siegel. I think she may have been in a, one of the shorts things.
Oh, yeah. She made a cameo, apparently.
Yeah. And Rahul Kohli, I think, was, the, not janitor, but, one of the employees there. Or was he also a,
I think he was the doctor.
I think he might have been in one of the shorts. Vincent Beggs is the character's name. Rahul Kohli is the actor's name. But, as always, he's very good. All of the actors in all these shows are fantastic. I should say this now.
Okay, yeah, he's a character in one of the club stories.
Okay. He's a... all of the actors in all these shows are wonderful. I think some of them shine more than others, but, there's not a single bad performance in any of these shows.
I want to say, I feel kind of bad for, Aurora Climber? Anyway, she usually plays someone who's really hard to like, and I feel like she deserves to get a role where we get to like her.
Yeah, no, in this show, she was...
kind of a religious zealot.
She was a religious zealot that shunned people for being queer. And in the last show, was she the one who got paralyzed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she makes some decisions that make you kind of not like her as much, but at the same time, you understand it. It's just that the show kind of shows you the other character's perspective on the events more than hers. But when you think about it, her actions are valid. But the acting is great in this. I think that if you go into this show expecting an overarching plot, you're going to be disappointed because that plot is not concluded. If you go into this show expecting a series of shorts, I think it bumps up 2 ranks. I think I'd put it in B if it was just a collection of shorts, because all of the overarching stories.
It could have easily been an A tier if we got that second season.
Yeah, all of the overarching stories are cut short because of the lack of a second season, which I think has kind of cemented probably in Mike Flanagan's mind the idea of, hey, don't plan a show with 2 seasons because Netflix doesn't like giving those out. I look over at my inside job and I cry. But
sobbing, actually.
I'm put this over in D now. Then we have the last show, The Fall of the House of Usher, which I believe it's my start now.
Can we just go 1, 2, 3 and then say our ranking for it?
I mean, it's S. It's S.
It's S. It's an easy S.
It has to be an S.
Hard gore warning for this one.
Oh, this is the biggest gore warning by far.
They put the harshest death in the beginning, and it made me
it sets the tone.
Scared to watch the rest.
I'm gonna leave this here and make it big so that we can all appreciate it before I put it in S. But it's just incredible. It's the only show so far since I've started this YouTube channel. The only thing so far that has gotten me to have such an incredible emotional reaction that I had a burning desire to make a YouTube video about it.
Oh yeah.
And if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I really enjoyed making that video. But I love it.
And can we just give a round of applause to the actress who played Verna? Because oh my god, she's not in it much, but oh my god. Yeah,
she's Carla Gugino. That's a name I'm not gonna be able to pronounce. Gugino.
Gugino, I think.
Carla Gugino. She's incredible. Preface for this show, because this is the one we're probably going to talk about the longest. It's a play on a bunch of Edgar Allan Poe stories. The Fall of the House of Usher, which is about basically this incredible family falling to pieces. It plays into a lot of his other stories as well, ones that people will probably know are Nevermore with Verna being a raven, and Telltale Heart with what's her name? I'm looking at the cast list, and did I skip over it?
Victorine.
Yeah, Victorine's story. Yeah, she's like way down on this cast list for some reason. Tania Miller. She's also very good. All of these actors are very good. I feel like I need to point out so many of them, but they're just all incredible. And the way this show plays with those stories, I'm not even big on Edgar Allan Poe, and I can appreciate it. The way that it plays with...
It was very fun for me, who I do know a lot of Edgar Allan Poe stories, so it was very fun for me to, like, excitedly point out, like, oh my god, this is this story, and after going, what?
This plays into... The only story I got was the Telltale Heart. This plays into everything for you. Between the Edgar Allan Poe poems, the color theory in this show is incredible. The way it uses color, oh my god. And the 7 Deadly Sins imagery that is not explicitly pointed out in the show, but seemed very clear to me at least, which is the video I made.
Same. And also, all of the actors in this show, like, pull out, like, all of the acting chops. All of them go so hard.
Rahul Kohli, incredible. The way that you can tell he's, like, Rahul plays Napoleon. The way he shows that, like, he's kind of the only one of these siblings that is actually caring that they're all falling apart and cares about this family, and it's like he's just going insane over the fact that nobody else is, like, having these same emotional reactions and grieving like he is. Kate Siegel's character, Camille La España, is very good. I really liked her. The way that everyone kind of, like, hated her made me feel bad for her. Prospero didn't really get much time to shine, so I can't speak much towards him.
But, like, within the little time he had, you could really get that feeling of, this is kind of a spoiled brat.
Mark Hamill's in this? Arthur Pym?
Mark Hamill's in
He's
this.
incredible. He's, like, the only one in the show when presented with Verna's offers that is able to resist temptation and be like, no, I'm good with where I am. He's able to, like, he's the most capable character in the show, and I love it. Then, let me, where did she go? Samantha Sonia, what was her character's name? The green one. Samantha Sloyan, not Sonia, I said the wrong last name. Samantha Sloyan, Tamerlane. Oh my god, once again, she gets a character that's so easy to hate. I feel bad for her, but I feel bad for her because all of her characters make me hate them, but she's so good at it. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but it's just so easy to hate the characters.
Who did Lenore? She was
so amazing.
Easy to love.
She is the embodiment of everything good that ever could have happened in, like, from that family's gene pool. It's incredible. Then Frederick Usher,
only, like, what, 16, 17 when filming this?
Yeah, she was young. Then Frederick Usher, the eldest son, completely incompetent. If I made it seem like Tamerlane was the most hated character in the show, holy shit, the things Frederick does in his episode, you are rooting for his death.
You are, like, getting the popcorn, you are lounging in your seat, you're going, okay, let's see how this motherfucker dies.
And again, massive gore warning and spoiler warning for this. There is, like, people getting ripped apart, cut in half, melted. One of them gets, like, ripped, like, Death of 1,000 cuts with glass. It's brutal. Also,
this show is brutal.
Nudity warning, mostly for the first episode. In the second episode, I think it's pretty much only the early stuff with Prospero, but, like, it's still there. It has all of the warnings in, like, the first 2 episodes of, like, and then if you can make it past those, you're probably good for the rest of the show. But, like, it's an incredible show. Maybe one of my favorite shows of all time. If there was, like, a higher spot than S, I would put it there. I'm usually the person that would only want to put a single thing in an S tier, unless there's, like, 20 things, in which case, okay, maybe we'll get a few in there. But, like, I want to keep my S tier very slim.
It would be so easy to put all of these in an S tier and this in an S plus tier.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how good it is.
Absolutely. I'd say my A shows, I could make an argument for S. But I kind of... This show stands so far ahead of the others in my mind that, like, I can't put anything on the same tier as it.
Yeah.
There's so many things we haven't even touched on yet. Like, this is a show that I could talk on for so long. If you want to see, like, my more extensive thoughts on a lot of this, that other video I mentioned earlier, I'll probably put it in the description. If not, It's on my channel. It's the one right before this because I've been really slow at posting videos. But like, it's an incredible show. I don't know what else to say.
If there's any takeaway you take from this video, if there's any show you go to watch after this video, make it this one.
Make it this one. I can't. There's nothing. I haven't like I said earlier. I haven't watched it in a bit, but I genuinely can't think of anything like negative to say about the show in the sense of like, oh, this could have been done better, or this could have been done differently, or this didn't quite hit as well. I can't think of anything. There's like the flashback sequences to you see how Roderick got to the point he is, and he's kind of influenced largely by his sister, who ducks and dodges a lot of the blame by kind of putting him in front. It's there's also a lot of Egyptian mythology imagery in this in terms of like trying to be immortal because the two of them know that this is going to happen, and they're trying to do everything they can to prevent it.
And like save their family, but it's less of saving their family and more of saving themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, top tier.
I'm gonna put an S now, and yeah, like this show is. I would watch all of these shows. Midnight Club you can skip if you'd like. If you want to see a lot of cool, like, the vibe is teenagers telling stories at a campfire kind of thing.
Yeah, it is still a good show. I will say it's just
it doesn't get to finish.
It doesn't get to reach its conclusion, which is a shame. I feel like it easily could have been an A to an S tier if it got the room to breathe.
Yeah, but it didn't. So I'd only recommend watching it if you want to see that kind of short story compilation show. If not, then you can skip it. Yeah, I'm going to make the Hill House bigger on the group one because it's small. They're all on its own. But I'm going to kind of organize this to make it look more legible. And then those two kind of have to stay small. I can make them a little bit bigger, I think. There we go. There we go. Cool. Now those two in the middle are still impossible to read. But, like, you can get the other three. But, yeah. These are our tier list. I'm glad there was at least a little bit of variance with Midnight Mass. Otherwise, it would have been the exact same tier list. And that's boring.
Yeah.
So...
And who knows? Maybe our next tier list will be after we watch all of Mike Flanagan's movies.
I haven't seen any of them yet. Like, I have a few tier list ideas. Some ideas that immediately come to mind are ranking Resident Evil games, ranking Marvel or DC movies, ranking characters like Overwatch characters or League characters, but those are so many. Like, I'm gonna have to come up with a different format for those. But yeah.
We can cover that later.
Yeah. Let me know if there's any tier lists you guys want me to do in the comments. And like I said, these are our final thoughts on these.
If there's any horror shows or movies you guys want us to watch, let us know below.
Yeah. And thank you for making it this far. The recording is 41 minutes. We'll see how much I cut out from my stuttering. And yeah,
I'm guessing about a minute or two.
Maybe a bit more. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this tier list video. As I said at the beginning, I kind of want to make these very simple to edit, very easy to put out on short notice. Let me know any suggestions you have for like the visuals. I'm probably going to add music to the background. If there's any changes you want to suggest, any things you really liked about this, want to make sure that I stick around, let me know in the comments, because this is very much in a state of flux. This could all look different the next time I do this series. I'm still trying to figure out its footing. But yeah, with that, make sure you check out Aurora as well. And
Hi.
her stuff will be in the description. See you all next time. Bye!
Bye.